And I tell you this, my breakout moment in broadcasting was in Winnipeg doing the Wednesday lottery with Don Whitman. And my favorite author, you can see there's a lot of books in behind me here. My favorite author is from Steinbach, Manitoba. Her name is Miriam Taves, and she moved up. Great story about Miriam. Her father, Mel, ran a school in Steinbach, but on weekends for pin money, he would sell his eggs up in Winnipeg. He would drop off containers of eggs. So at one point, he was getting ready to marry a woman named Elvira, who would be Miriam Taves, the author's mom. And he wanted to build a house just like one he'd seen in Winnipeg dropping off eggs. So Elvira says, well, what's it like inside? He says, oh, I have no idea. I just drop the eggs on the veranda and I move on. She said, well, you got to look inside to see if it's a house worth building. He says, I can't ask to go inside. I'm an egg deliverer. She said, leave it to me. So they go up to Winnipeg from Steinbach. She knocks on the door and says, do you mind if we have a look around? My husband here, Mel, wants to build a home just like this in Steinbach, and it will be our new wedding gift. And the guy says, come on in. It was Bill Mosienko. Bill Mosienko holds the record for the fastest hat trick in NHL history. He scored 3 goals in 21 seconds. And that just proves he's a good egg. Oh, sorry, there's a pun.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Right now,
I'm wearing headphones, rocking it back old school radio days.
How about that?
And somebody said it looks like I'm plugged into a Walkman. And I remember when I got my first Walkman, because my brothers and I had to share it. And I was the youngest, so how often do you think I got it? And you had your case of cassettes, and then people started to crap on your music selection. And I'm like, then bring yours then! How many times did we have that conversation at parties?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show. How about that?
Hi, everybody. We absolutely are. It's the RP Show, and it's a Wednesday, and it's a very big day. We're introducing an old/new segment today, and it's going to be a very interesting warm-up here. I'm broadcasting, as you can see, from the South Florida studio. It is beautiful here, as always. Beautiful in Toronto, too, where Darren Moose DuPont is. Moose, I'm just going to wave and say hi. We're going to jump right into this. I don't know how long Moose is going to be with us, because coming up in this segment, maybe in moments, Darren may not even speak, Stavros Katsantonis will be joining us from the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the weekly Sober Carpenter Player Spotlight, CFL Players Association Player Spotlight. Stavros Katsantonis of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He's got a very interesting story, and they said the only segment he could join us is now. Welcome to live television, everybody. I don't know what they got going on there in Hamilton, but he'll be with us at some point. And then we're going to try it again. Rocky DiPietro later on in hour 1. Maybe I should stop saying it like that, Moose. Maybe it would help. Get him on. And Chris Knuckles Nilan, your good friend and mine, joining us later on in hour 2. So if you don't mind, that's the roadmap of the show today. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan? And we'll get
How about that?
right down to business. I'll say this, starting with Major League Baseball, Kyle Schwarber hit 2 of Philadelphia's 3 solo homers off Merrill Kelly, and the sweet swinging Phillies pounded the Arizona Diamondbacks 10-0 Tuesday night to grab a 2-0 lead in the NLCS. Trey Turner also connected, and JT Realmuto had 2 hits and 3 RBIs as Philadelphia improved to 7-1 in the playoffs. Game 3 goes Thursday at Chase Field as they switch back to Phoenix. And Game 3 of the ALCS goes tonight, 8:03 Eastern, Houston at Texas. The Rangers lead the series 2-0. Stopping there for a moment, I have no thoughts because I haven't watched a pitch of the LCS. Darren, is it moving the needle where you are in Toronto, where they have a Major League Baseball team?
Barely. I'll say barely moving the needle, but it is. And I think the only storyline that we're really the storyline is Bryce Harper and what he's doing in this postseason. And we want to see him win a championship. I think that would be good for the game.
Okay, well, perfect timing. I love it. Stavros is with us, Moose. So you hang tight. We'll be coming back to you, okay?
All right.
All right, now star defender Stavros Katsantonis joins us from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And Stavros, thank you so much for joining us on a bye week. I'm excited to talk with you. I'm always excited every week when we find out who the player's going to be on our Players Association Spotlight, and it's you. You got a very interesting story, and you're balling here this season for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So there's so many things to talk about. So let me just ask you, how are things in the life of you, Stavros?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Rod. I really appreciate you having me on the show. But, yeah, things have been going great so far. Just been working hard. The results have been paying off this year. And, hoping to bring a home Grey Cup back to Hamilton this season as we head into the postseason.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I don't tell anybody, but I'm pulling for the Ticats to be in the Grey Cup because I know what it'll do for that Hamilton Grey Cup. So pulling for you guys, and I know you are doing your part, man. You're balling. And before we get to this year, you have a very interesting road to get to the Canadian Football League from Bakersfield, California. It's Bakersfield, right? Would you mind telling our viewers and audience the story? Looks like a hell of a story.
Yeah, I might have to write a book on it one day with all the turns and all that's gotten me where I am today. But yeah, from Bakersfield, California. My dad was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta. Played some junior football there. Was part of the Edmonton then Eskimos training camp back in like 1983, 84, something like that with Warren Moon. I think Matt Dunnigan was there, but he ended up going down to JUCO down in Bakersfield College where he met my mom. And then he went back to the University of Calgary, played a year or two there. My mom also went with him. He had a career-ending back injury, but I think my mom wasn't a fan of the 1988 blizzard that was in Calgary that year. So I think that maybe had a little something to do with them and ending up starting a family back in Bakersfield. But I played my high school football in Bakersfield as well. And then ended up going to the University of British Columbia. Just through my dad, he had ended up sending my film to the University of Calgary and UBC, just kind of following with Canadian college sports as he kind of did throughout my upbringing. I did see a few CFL games kind of in my high school time, but never thought that could pan out for me, going back to my high school football days. But, I'm really blessed to have, this journey that I've had and end up in the CFL and end up in the position that I am. But it's been a long one, but just super proud of my Canadian roots.
Yeah, and a fourth-round pick by the Tiger Cats in the Canadian College Draft. And I guess Stavros Katsantonis is with us. And I know the Greek community, I don't even need to know how proud they are of you because I know how they are. Man carrying the flag. And to be honest, Zach Caleros has the name, but he's not as Greek as you. It's a short name, Caleros. And I've talked to Zach about that. We're good friends. So, before we talk about between the lines stuff, what's it like representing the Greek community in the sport of football? Is that a thing for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been an honor. Ever since I was a kid, I got raised in the Greek traditions, Greek dancing. Maybe that's an attribute to some of my footwork on the football field. But yeah, was raised Greek through and through. My parents owned a restaurant that was a Greek and American sports bar. So I was really infused in the culture, and it's always an honor just to have my last name on the jersey that's seen by hundreds of thousands, millions of people all over the place, wherever they're watching. And even speaking to the Caleros part, that was a cool thing, just being able to connect up with them sometimes after game and share some interesting Greek words with each other. I won't say them on the air, but he's a good guy, and definitely another good Greek guy to connect with in the league.
Oh, man, some just popped into my head. I'm not sure that I can say them either. And I won't. But it's your third season there, but this is a season where you, Stavros, I feel have really taken that jump, man. Am I reading it right? Where you're comfortable, you're making plays? Talk about your CFL career, where you've come from and where you're at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, from the rookie standpoint in 2021, just kind of, earning my stripes, getting a few reps here and there, and then, kind of having some starts in the playoffs, the Grey Cup being one of them. Unfortunately not being able to win that game was definitely a tough one at home, but definitely has fueled the fire, coming into obviously last season, not getting as many plays, but, leading the team in special teams tackles, just doing my part, in whatever's asked of me. And then, fast forwarding into this season, just, obviously not getting the start right out the go, but not letting that get me down or change my preparation in terms of, how I come to work every day. And I think it's just been, a whole process. I've had a lot of great veterans around me with guys like Tunde Adeleke, Mike Daly, Brooke for my rookie year and last year, Jamal Roll, Ciante Evans. So being able to, have guys like that around you, Richard Leonard, that have been there, kind of done that, has helped that transition as well. And then a lot of good coaches with, Hall of Famer Coach O, Coach Steinauer, Coach Washington. Those are just two awesome guys that are DBs that I've been in the room since I first come into the league. Coach Craig Butler, in my first 2 years, and just a huge support system around me, from day one.
Well, I'll tell you again, I was watching the game Friday night. It's not the first night that you were making plays against BC, but I was literally, who is this guy? And he's clearly Greek. So way to go, man. Everybody's noticing. Everybody's picking up. So keep it going. Enjoy the rest of your bye week. Good luck getting into the Grey Cup. And I got to ask you, I see that microphone over the back corner there. Are you a fledgling podcaster, radio guy, broadcaster? What's the story there?
I have been in the off season, delving a little bit more into promoting the CFL, on the YouTube standpoint, something that's a little bit of a side hobby passion of mine. Haven't been able to really do it during the season just because there's, a lot of commitments there, and not a whole lot of extra time for extra things, but it will be something that I do, in the off season, maybe something I get into, maybe post career in the media realm. But yeah, I do enjoy kind of the podcasting, video creation, content creation for, our great Canadian Football League.
Good stuff, Stavros. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you get back to enjoying the bye. And I got a lot of friends around that Ticats organization, not the least of which is Andy Fantuz. As you know, he's on the radio there. So say hi to him for me. He's a Malacca. Thank you, Stavros.
There we go. I appreciate you, Rod. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Stavros Katsantonis. And that's just between us in the Greek community there. Yeah. It's brought to you by Sober Carpenter. I'm down to one left. One Sober Carpenter out of the fridge, and I think I'm going to crack it right now. Our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. And check them out at sobercarpenter.com. Find a vendor near you. And we can bring Moose in. If he's still there. Or you want me to handle this all on my own? I can do that.
I'm here.
Let me guess. Okay. Do you have any idea what that term was that I used with Stavros?
I'm racking my brain. I did not Google it, but what does it mean?
Don't.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Clark. One of the many wonderful life experiences that I have is picking up a lot of off-color Greek phrases. Anyways, moving on, and thank you to the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the CFL Players Association for making Stavros available. And I'm going to tell you, I'm telling you, you watch these games really closely, and you know the Canadian contingent. This guy's a baller.
Oh, I've been watching him ever since he was with the UBC Thunderbirds. That's when he came on the radar.
Yeah.
I believe he was part of that team in 2015 that won a Vanier, the Hardy Cup, and then the Vanier. I mean, he's a great player. Was really good in the Thunderbirds secondary, and now just made a seamless transition to the Canadian Football League, and was one of the best Canadians, one of the best defensive players in the game. So really cool to see him on the show.
From the audience, Nelson in the our VP of Sim event says, off the field, Stavros is one of the best social media follows. Greg with 2 G's writes in and says, hey, Rod, what's your take on the Winnipeg Jets attendance situation? Apparently they only had 11,000 in attendance yesterday. Hang on. I'll get to it. Randolph Charles says Malacca means arse. No, it doesn't. Nelson writes in and says, I've hung out in enough Greek restaurants that I'm having a good laugh right now. Yeah, so I think we can say it's an English language television. We're not Greek language. So we're good.
I know baklava.
So
I don't know Malacca.
Yeah, that's a dessert. Yeah. If I called them baklava, it wouldn't mean anything. To this, point 2, Pierre, back on track if we ever were on one. And do you hear Lawn Guy, by the way? He has showed up. He picks the best times. Pierre-Luc Dubois scored in his return to Winnipeg, and Travis Moore he's a multi-talented guy, that Travis Moore. Two-time Grey Cup champ of the Calgary Stampeders, receivers coach for the Ottawa Redblacks. He had 2 goals and an assist to help the Los Angeles Kings pick up their first victory of the NHL season with a 5-1 win over the Jets. Winnipeg center Mark Scheifele averted a shutout by scoring with 1:16 to go in the third period. We need to spend a minute there. We are very big in Winnipeg, very large Greek community there. My good friend Peter Giannakis runs the Pony Corral restaurant chain. Greek guy. What do we use? That's the story coming out of the game. It was not a good night for Winnipeg, and I'm going to tell you all right now. Darren knows this, and longtime members of the Rod Squad would know it too. I don't have the energy to go up and down on a bigger roller coaster than New York than Las Vegas. Oh, we lost in Calgary, not a big deal. Then we beat Florida on Saturday 6-4. We're great, we're on track. Then we lose 5-1 to LA. What's the problem? Is it rock bottom? The rink's not full. I cannot and will not. How do you feel about the energy we're seeing coming out of Winnipeg? It's energy. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. It's a lot, Darren.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I feel for the fan base because of that energy. It's up and down, and they don't know which way to turn it. It's unfortunate because, looked pretty good against Florida, and then this, and, everything that could have went wrong kind of did. The attendance took over the conversation. There was boos for PLD, which maybe were expected. And he goes out and scores, rubs it in your face and scores. They win big. The building's not full. It just wasn't a great night, and that's what my timeline is dominated with, is negativity out of Winnipeg right now, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Yet on the weekend, it was all great. But I want to say this. Do you see any other radio, television, or streaming shows talking about the attendance? And I'm not saying because they don't, we won't. But I don't really care. Winnipeg has hung on longer, the Jets, in that town than I probably thought that they would have, given the state of the finances of the National Hockey League in this decade. Manitoba has the same population of Saskatchewan, but as you brought up yesterday, it's all centralized in Winnipeg. And I get it. It's highly expensive to go. Now, did you watch? You probably didn't, but I did. The Sabres-Lightning game from Buffalo last night. There wasn't a lot of people there. And I was thinking, maybe they just got up early to go to get something to eat. Maybe they're late getting into their seat. No, it was bad attendance. But I would still rather talk about what happened in the games than whether people are buying tickets or not. Because, again, it's the owners' problems and the teams and the leagues, not mine. Not my problem. Pretty sure it's not your problem, Darren. They're the ones that should be talking about it, not us. So, Sean, and I'm going to move on. Is the time ticking on the Winnipeg Jets in the market? Yeah, probably, because you got a good team and you're 4,000 seats shy of a sellout in your home game number 2. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's just a matter of time before your team leaves. That's just the way that it is. There's your hot take of the day, Darren. There's the meme of the day. Write it down. We got a lot of NHL games to get to when we come back. CFL Game of the Week vote, NFL notes. A lot to get to. In our NHL Top 5 and Bottom 5, we'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Everybody, a reminder, our hockey coverage is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. Turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. We're only halfway through the NHL story, and as I mentioned, we do have a lot of CFL stuff coming up, some NFL notes too. Let's bring in the Moose. He's in Toronto. Ted in Red Deer writes it. He says, man, I am out of sync with the RP show. MLB is number one at this time of year for me. 2 NFL, 3 U.S. college football. Yeah, Ted, well, it's not the Ted and Red Deer show. It's the Rod Pedersen show. We haven't changed. You have. So come back when you're into this. I feel like the people don't want. It's typical. They ask my opinion, Darren, and then I give it, and then they can't handle it. Greg with 2 G's writes in. He says, "You're giving me a panic attack, Rod. I can't lose the Jets again." I learned a long time ago that people really want to talk about the ticket prices, and they should. They're sports fans, but they're not. Well, maybe they will come down. I don't know. John in Edmonton writes in. He says, Calgary's going to have a rude awakening when the new arena opens. Fans are going to be ticked off at the ticket prices, concessions, just like we are in Edmonton. Sure, yet every game sells out. So in Winnipeg, they just don't have the population. Like, I think in Calgary, it's a big enough city, 1.4 million there. I don't get it. Somehow the NHL has, and it always has been big, but I was sitting at a Flames game last year. There was a guy and his 2 little girls in the seats beside him, probably $250 each per ticket. There's $500 for 2 kids that weren't even paying attention. They're like 3 and 5. I'm like, you could go to a whole season of Calgary Hitmen hockey or Wranglers, a whole season for what you're blowing tonight on 2 tickets of kids that don't even want to go. But so agree or disagree that the Jets' time is ticking, Moose?
It has to be ticking if you're not selling out games, especially early in the season when there's excitement and you've been waiting for so long. Do I think it's, the fuse is short? No. Or, I think there's a lot of time on that clock. I don't think they're going to run away anytime soon, but it's definitely ticking. And it's a big story if there's that many empty seats. I remember, you just can't sustain in that type of a market unless your building's full. That's why the fans had to commit for 3, 4, 5 years of tickets when they first came back.
Yeah, but that's long gone. Those days are long gone. I know a lot of guys that bought season tickets then, and they didn't renew. Good morning, Kevin the Medium, checking in from Calgary. One more comment from the Peanut Gallery before we get back on track. Greg with 2 Gs says, do the Coyotes really bring in that much TV money? They get like 5,000 attendance, and it seems they'll never move. And thank you, by the way, Puffy. Puffy is the name. A new viewer checks in and says, I live in Regina. I don't know any Jets fans here. It's all Oilers and Flames around here, which was a question yesterday. People asked, what's the number 1 team there? And that was the answer that I gave. We got to get back on point here. Sean Couturier scored on a penalty shot for his first goal in nearly 2 years. Kata Hot made 25 saves, and the Philadelphia Flyers beat the Vancouver Canucks 2-0 in their home opener Tuesday night. In Montreal, Joel Eriksson Ek had 2 power play goals and added an assist to help Minnesota beat Montreal 5-2. Dylan Cousins, the workhorse from Whitehorse, scored 146 into overtime, and the Buffalo Sabres overcome blowing a 2-goal lead to secure their first win of the season. They beat Tampa Bay 3-2. The Lightning have lost 3 straight. We're not going to spend any more time on that. That's why Serena and I started the podcast, The Cats and Bolts Show, which we're recording today with Ed Jovanovski. Right after this show, the RP Show, we're heading down to Podcast Junkies to do that because we want to talk Florida and Tampa Bay NHL hockey, but I also understand these viewers don't. Everybody's happy. But again, the Lightning have lost 3 in a row. I won't spend any more time on it than that. But I will say last night I was watching ESPN, NHL on ESPN, and PK Subban, I know you saw it, Darren, because I saw you were watching my story, was wearing a crown, as was Mark Messier. So we started something with Bet Regal, and they were talking about the Steven Stamkos contract situation. And this is where, this isn't really new. It's new to me, but I don't know that it's new to coaches and GMs and so forth. I will say this, near the end of the first period, maybe near the end of the second, whatever, don't matter. They're like, coming up, Emily Kaplan has the latest on the Steven Stamkos contract talks. Stick around. NHL on ESPN. I can't change the channel now. So come back from the commercial. Let's go down to Emily Kaplan. She's at Ice Level with the latest on Steven Stamkos. Yeah, guys, I talked to GM Julien Brisebois, and there's really nothing new. They're not talking until the end of the season. I'm like, got me. The latest is, there's nothing new. Film at 11. So that somehow you need to protect your players and coaches from this, don't you? I bet it is new. It's worse now than ever before.
Yeah, we need to have news, right? We need to have stories. We need to fill our broadcasts. We need to fill our shows. But, Brisebois comes out and says, we're going to talk at the end of the year. So let's not let it be a distraction all year. Well, what's going to happen every 4 or 5 weeks? What's the latest with Steven? Have you talked to Stamkos yet? Have you talked to him yet? Right? Mike in the face. And the latest is always going to be, they're talking at the end of the year. They're talking at the end of the year. And by default, it's going to be a distraction all season, even though they want to put it off till the off season so that it's not a distraction. It's just the world that we live in now. And that's what you're going to get. So I would rather them see it, put it to bed and get something done. But that's what they've decided.
Yeah. We'll spend a minute, point 3, on the Canadian Football League Game of the Week, and I do want to get to my NHL top 5 and bottom 5. First edition of the season. I'm not sure, Darren, if you came up with yours or not, and you have time to do that if you want. But our daily poll question is for Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. Do you remember, do you know what the CFL games are this week in Week 19? It's not even the last week of the regular season. There's one more. But the games are these. Friday night, the Calgary Stampeders are at the BC Lions. The Lions are favored by 9. And then on Saturday, I said that, yes, BC's favored by 9 at home over Calgary. And there's a doubleheader on Saturday. Toronto at Saskatchewan. The Argos are favored by 9.5. And then it's Edmonton at Winnipeg in a friends and family game. The Blue Bombers are favored by 12. It's a friends and family game because only friends and family care. My vote is for Calgary, BC, for a variety of reasons. I got to check the standings again. I'm not as into it as I used to be. But Winnipeg and BC are tied for first in the West, right? So that's a must-win game for Calgary, Darren, if they want to finish first in the CFL West. And they are tied. And Winnipeg has a game in hand. So that's the game of the week. Because the Toronto Sask game, the Sask could lose it and still get into the playoffs. So a lot of it has to do with Calgary, BC. What do you think? What's your game of the week?
Yeah, Calgary, BC for me. I'm with you on that one. I think that game has the most intrigue. Two teams that both want to win. BC wants to finish first. Calgary wants to get into the playoffs. So I think there's more on the line in that game, and it should be a good one. For me, that's the game of the week.
Who's leading, Clark? Do you have any stats or numbers on YouTube? Calgary, BC is leading. Calgary, BC is leading. Sask, Toronto close behind. We'll be talking about that more in hour 2. Rocky DiPietro and Chris Nilan are coming up on the program today. It's time to get to our top 5 NHL and bottom 5 presented by our friends at Bet Regal, our official betting partner. And let's go, Darren. Our number 1 team in the National Hockey League is the Vegas Golden Knights, and it ain't close. They've picked up where they left off. NHL best 4-0. NHL best plus-minus of +10. Number 2 team, the Colorado Avalanche. They're 3-0. Got the big revenge win at Seattle Tuesday night, and they're +7. Second best in the NHL. Number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes. Yes, they're 3-1. They're the only team in our top 3 of the loss, but get used to them being in the top 5. The Hurricanes are all that. The Dallas Stars are the 4th best team in the NHL, according to us. 15th overall in the standings, but they've played the fewest games. And the number 5 team in the National Hockey League, it's Sidney Crosby. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, look who's back. Shady's back. Bottom 5 in the National Hockey League, Moose, in reverse order. The 28th team is the Anaheim Ducks. They're 1-1. They just haven't played enough games to prove that they got a long ways to go. 29th team, the Seattle Kraken. They actually have the NHL's worst record at 0-3-1. 30th team in the NHL, the Columbus Blue Jackets. It began with hiring Babs, continued with firing Babs, and now here we are. Second worst team in the NHL is the Arizona Coyotes. Thank God for Logan Cooley. It's the only reason, I think, to watch their games. And the worst team in the NHL right now is the San Jose Sharks. They are winless in 3 to start the season. Get used to them being in our bottom 5 and probably even the worst team in the NHL. That's the top 5, bottom 5 for our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. Agree or disagree?
I agree for the most part with that. You got Dallas in there, which I like. I think, the Islanders are off to a good start, but are they a top 5 team in the league? Probably not. The one that's just interesting to me is the parity in the National Hockey League. Most teams have played 3 games. That's not a lot. And yet there's only 2 teams that are winless. There's only 2 teams winless. I thought there would be more. It shows you just the parity in the National Hockey League. And the number of winless teams are going down too. Like, what is there, 4 or 5 teams that are winless? That's it? Or undefeated, I mean. So it's so much parity. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun. We'll be doing it every week. Thank you, Ryan, in upstate New York. He says, don't forget to smash that like button, YouTubers. Smash responsibly. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says regarding that whopping line, BC favored by 9. He says, good. I'm glad BC's favored by that much. No pressure on us. 0.6, just to get it out of the way. Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes each scored 22 points as the Toronto Raptors kept their unbeaten NBA preseason record intact with a 106-102 win over the Chicago Bulls Tuesday. The Raps host the Washington Wizards on Friday night. So, back to where we all were if we were anywhere specific on the text line 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Look up Joe at EMJ Marketing to book the perfect keynote speaker for your next event. Terry, the lawyer, writes in and says, hey, Rod, I texted once in the past to suggest that you guys get Ted Nolan on the show, and I said, I may be able to help. I see he now has a book out, which I just bought. A perfect time to get him on. Cheers, Terry, the lawyer. Clark, let's get on that. I'd like to get to the bottom of the Ted Nolan story. Matthew Barnaby swears by him. He'll vouch for him. So let's get Ted Nolan on. We'll find out who the book company is, and we'll do that. We'll make that happen. Thank you, Terry, the lawyer. Rob in Las Vegas says, greetings, RP and Moose. Thoughts on the huge opening point spreads in the CFL this week? We'll get to that next hour because we're up against it for time here. And Rob also says, I met Swervin Mervin Fernandez at a golf tournament here in Vegas. He could not have been nicer and introduced me to Marcus Allen. Great chat with both of them. It's Damon's brother, Marcus, and I got great stories about Marcus. He's a hell of a guy. I never met Swervin Fernandez, yet we're Facebook friends. Figure that one out. Swervin Mervin Fernandez. Went into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame a few years ago. We're Facebook friends. I never met him. But I've heard he's a great guy, and I heard the same thing. Well, I know that about Marcus Allen. We did an event together at the 2013 Grey Cup. Speaking of Grey Cups, Rocky DiPietro will be featured at this year's, and we'll tell you how and why when he joins us next. Moose, I'll see you in hour 2.
See you then.
We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's the RP Show. We are live on Game Plus TV and WQP Radio, also streaming. We read this resume yesterday. We only got 2 hours to go through the esteemed list of accomplishments of Rocky DiPietro. Grey Cup champion, played in 4, Canadian Football Hall of Fame, 1997, joining us on the screen there. Most outstanding Canadian twice in the CFL, and he will be honored, along with my good friend Leo Ezrins, Uncle Leo, at the CFL Alumni Association Legends Luncheon Friday at Grey Cup in the Hammer. Rocky, welcome to the RP Show, man, and congratulations on this latest honor. How you doing?
Good, Rod. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
When you heard this news, take me back. How did you find out that you were being honored as Alumnus of the Year along with Leo? A pretty prestigious award. How did you find out, and how did you feel about it?
Well, first of all, I don't know if I'm as deserving as some of the other guys in our Alumni Association here in Hamilton, but, it's nice to be recognized, and hopefully some recognition for our Hamilton Ticat Alumni Association. But I was in contact with Jason Riley, who was our former president of the Ticat alumni, and he shared the good news with me. And, great to be selected along with my teammate and friend, Leo Ezrins, who's done some great things with the CFL alumni and the CFL Alumni Support Fund. So it's quite an honor, and, it's great to be recognized.
It was in 1989 that Rocky became the CFL's all-time receptions leader, but it wasn't until 91 that you retired. What does it mean to you, Rocky? I'm sure you've answered all these questions, but not from me. I'm asking you for the first time. What did it mean to spend your entire career of 14 years with one team? Because that just doesn't happen anywhere anymore.
Yeah, that's, I never really thought about it as I was playing. You're involved in the day-to-day stuff and the grind of playing football. But certainly after my career was finished, and I look back on things, very grateful to spend 14 years in the same place. Had some great management that I would say kept me there. There was a time when I almost left, but I'm glad I stayed. And of course, great teammates and great coaches along the way. I was able to put down some roots here in Niagara. I met my wife here, raising my family here. So, I couldn't be more thrilled. And I realize that I'm probably one of the luckier ones that have played in the CFL to stay in one place.
Well, I say this in all seriousness. That Legends Luncheon, I've emceed it. I try to go to it every year. It's the best event at Grey Cup. There's for bang for your buck. It starts at like 11. It goes till 3:30. It's worth the price of admission to go. Has any of your friends or CFL fans asked you about getting in a fight? Because it was 2011, the infamous Angie Mosca, Joe Cap. Were you even there for that? And will you promise that you will not be throwing the Dukes in Hamilton this year?
Yeah, I promise, Rod. There's no way I'll be involved in any of that. If I recall, I believe that was in Vancouver, and
yep,
I wasn't there, but I watched the highlights and that. And Andrew was a good friend. I got to know him a lot better after I retired, and I mean, he was always there at the games in Hamilton. But Andrew was a great guy. He had that rough exterior, but deep down, he had a big heart. Did a lot of great things for the Hamilton community, and it was a shame to see that happen. I guess the only good thing that came out of it, we got a lot of publicity for the CFL alumni, and brought in some money, especially when I think they auctioned off his cane. So sometimes good things come out of bad things.
Another hot-blooded, passionate Italian, Angelo Mosca, like the guy on the air with me today, Rocky DiPietro. I asked him the next day if that was staged, and he just winked at me. He wouldn't say, but I'll tell you, the look on Joe Cap's face and the force that he came, I don't think it was staged, Rocky. So you weren't at that one, but have you been at the Legends Luncheon before? Can you vouch that it's the greatest event at Grey Cup for me?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I haven't been to too many. And we had our own one here 2 years ago, which was a great event. They sold out very quickly. So great to see people coming out to support that. But it's great to see some of the other guys. And, everybody's got their football shirts on, sweaters. And great to see the guys, like 30 years after I stopped playing, guys that I played against. And you're able to sit down and have a chat with them and talk about the old times, talk about previous, coaches you've had, similar experiences. It's a great experience.
Well, yes, for all those reasons. And I remember in Ottawa 2017, Russ Jackson got up there and was asked the importance of the CFL to Ottawa, and Russ was overcome with emotion. And I was like, these are the moments. This is why we love the CFL, and that's why we love this event. So it's not sold out yet, and we'll tell you how you can get your ticket. It's close, though. I know it's very close because I'm very close to Leo and his crew and Joe with the CFL Alumni Association. So I appreciate you coming on, Rocky. And I wonder, what is it? The obvious question is, what would it mean to have the Ticats there? I mean, they've had a hell of a season up and down. Seems like they always are, but they seems to be on an upswing now. What do you see?
Well, everybody who follows the CFL knows anything can happen in the CFL. And the year we won, my only Grey Cup in 1986, we had a year that was almost similar to the one they're having. We did get hot at the end, and we're able to win those big games, get into the Grey Cup. We were huge underdogs, and we came up big and won. So, like I say, you never know in the CFL. Anything can happen. We're certainly pulling for the Ticats, especially at home. The fans would be thrilled. But regardless, I know that the Ticats will put on a great show.
Honestly, I'm pulling for the Ticats, and I shouldn't say that because I try to be a league guy, but because of the drought and not curse, drought, there's a difference, and I want to see, it's just great when the home team's in the Grey Cup, and Toronto just won it last year, so I can't let you get out of here without asking you, and I don't want to end it on a downer, so I'll ask you another, but the 89 Grey Cup, you were a part of that. Do you still feel, or did you ever, that it was the greatest Grey Cup game ever played, or was it because Sask won at 43-40, you wouldn't even go along with that adage?
Well, I think it was one of the better games. Hard for me to say I was playing in the game, so I think everybody that was watching was pretty excited. A lot of points, back and forth, down to the end, field goal to win it. It was tough being on the other side of that. I thought we had a great shot to win there at the end, but that's the way things go sometimes. You win, you lose. But, it was great being part of that, especially playing in the Dome. I think we had about 60,000 people there. So it was a great experience. My family was there. My mother, my father, my wife were there. So, they loved it. And like I say, a great experience. Tough one to lose, but that's the way things go.
That's the game. That's the way it goes. Yeah, and at least you got a ring. It was 86, right, with Hamilton. You mentioned Leo. Do you have a funny Leo Ezrin story? They're all funny about Leo, but do you have one that stands out?
Well, not a particular one, but it was great playing with Leo after having to go against him while he played in Winnipeg. We used to go head-to-head. Of course, Leo was an outside linebacker. I was a slot back. So we bumped heads many times. And, I'm glad when he got traded to our team, along with Paul Bennett. I think those two guys helped with their experience, with their, with playmaking, they helped us put us over the top and eventually helped us win a Grey Cup.
There you go. Ending it on a good note. I could go on for days, Rocky. We'll have to do another one of these sometime. But congratulations on this latest honor, and thanks for all you've done for everybody. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Rod. Pleasure.
Hall of Famer Rocky DiPietro. When we come back, we got a sports update and audience takeover. Chris Knuckles Nilan in hour 2. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. If we have time, we'll get to audience takeover. What are they saying out here? Regarding the hot take of the day. By the way, I don't come up with I don't lay awake at night dreaming of what I'm going to say the next day. They just come out. And I said, sorry to break it to you, Winnipeg, but the Jets are going to be gone. I'm not sure what the quote is. That's already up on our Facebook and Twitter. Sorry to break it to you, Winnipeg, but just a matter of time till the Jets leave town. And they're talking about poor attendance there in Winnipeg. So what do you think's going to happen? Do the math. Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba writes in. He says, hi, Rod. The Jets owner is one of the wealthiest men in Canada. I hope Mr. Thompson is in for the long haul. I guess we're going to find out, but let's remember this, or I'll inform you if you didn't know. Rich men got rich by not blowing money. They don't like doing that. So there will come a breaking point for, what is it, David Thompson there in Winnipeg, the owner of the Jets, and I'm sure they're nowhere near it. But if they keep drawing 11,000 a game, it's not going to be long. Don't get mad at me. That's the whole point. Guy writes in, Rod, what do you think about all the empty seats at MTS Center or Canada Life Center? What do you think I think? That's your answer. What do you want? They want you to tell them it's going to be okay. It's not. You're welcome. Sports update, Max Scherzer is going to be back on the mound for the Texas Rangers tonight with a chance to put them up 3-0 in the American League Championship Series against Houston. Scherzer has been out for a month because of a muscle strain in his shoulder. Christian Javier starts for the Astros. Game 4 tomorrow. Kyle Schwarber hit 2 of Philadelphia's 3 solo homers off Merrill Kelly, and the Phillies pounded Arizona 10-0 to grab a 2-0 lead in the NLCS. Back to the CFL for a moment when the league honors the season's best on Thursday, November 16th. A familiar face will headline the proceedings at the CFL Awards. TSN's Kate Burness. The fan favorite returns as Master of Ceremonies for her 3rd time, with the show taking place at the Avalon Theatre at Fallsview Casino and Resort in Niagara Falls, Ontario. Tickets for the event, $139. You can get them at CFL.ca, GreyCupFestivals.ca. And a free shuttle service to and from downtown Hamilton to Fallsview Casino Resort will be available for fans attending the CFL Awards. This sports update is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing, the high-quality beer behind great conversation and unforgettable memories. Visit commoncrown.ca. As usual, a very fast hour one. Oh, boy. Sometimes I wonder why I ask people to do things because they never listen. No offense, present company excluded, Arlen Bruce III. I say, get your questions in ahead of time, and I'll ask them. Arlen Bruce III just says, great morning. Ask the legendary DiPietro if he prefers grass or turf. I just read it. But last week when we had Jim Barker on, everybody submitted their questions ahead of time. I was able to vet them and get your questions answered. I'll tell you, AB, that just read a study on the weekend that it's inconclusive what causes less injuries, grass or turf, which I find very interesting. Janet, the Four Seasons, says, what a crap kicking the D-backs took from Philly yesterday. Wow. Yes, but the Regina Pats, God's team, won at Moose Jaw, and for that reason, all is happy in the sports world. Hour 2 coming up, including Knuckles Nilan after this brief pause on Game Plus and WQEE Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Right now.
I'm wearing headphones, rocking it back old school radio days.
How about that?
And somebody said it looks like I'm plugged into a Walkman. And I remember when I got my first Walkman, because my brothers and I had to share it. And I was the youngest, so how often do you think I got it? And you had your case of cassettes, and then people started to crap on your music selection. And I'm like, then bring yours then! How many times did we have that conversation at parties?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome inside. Come on in. We've started something today. Kind of meant to, I guess. It is hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. I'm here in South Florida. Very excited about this afternoon. I'll tell you why in a moment. Darren Moose DuPont joins us from the Toronto studio. And I'm feeling great. As you know, Darren, I always am. Not just because we got people's attention in Winnipeg.
I was going to say.
But I'm happy. What? What do you got? What were you going to say?
No, I was wondering if you got them going in Winnipeg yet already.
Well, why? At clockwork, I need to, at the top of hour 2, just sit down, rub my earlobes, and go, woo-saw, just calm down. Because I'm not upset. I just have a million things that flooded my mind here. We're live on Game Plus television all across North America, Canadian national television, 31 U.S. states, on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, podcast, and YouTube Live. I'll read a text that has come in on the EMJ Marketing text line. It's from Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba. You can always reach us, 902-518-3033. Brian says, good morning, RP Squad. I've driven through Atlanta many times on my way to the Sunshine State. Downtown traffic in Hotlanta is horrendous at the best of times. Trying to go to an event at the facility in the downtown area must be nerve-wracking at the least. An arena built in the suburbs may be the answer to getting their NHL team back. Why am I reading this? Why is he writing that in? Because it just... Darren, you can see this, right? You were with me last hour when the guy said Rod. I very clearly know his name's Greg with 3 G's. G-R-E-G-G. And he said, Rod, what do you think about the lack of a sellout in Winnipeg? 4,000 short of a sellout last night for the Jets, 5-1 loss to LA. And I'm like, it's just a matter of time before they're going to be gone. Who couldn't see this coming? It's got everybody wound up. And you can look at it a variety of ways. Maybe it's a good thing that the host of the television show that beams into Manitoba on Bell MTS Channel 1190, the RP show, is waking you up, Manitoba. Buy tickets to the Jets or your team's going to be gone. It's actually a good thing if you want to look at it that way. Or, Darren, have you had the courage to take a look at our Facebook page yet and see the comments that are coming in from people? Have you?
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, they don't like the hot take that they're going to lose their team again. And I don't care. Just so you know, everybody, if you're upset or not. The guy asked my opinion, I'm going to give it. And why I think I very calmly have chopped down a couple trees here. I'm going to the next one in terms of topics I wanted to get to. I got a couple, actually. I had a coffee this morning, Darren, with a guy by the name of Greg. He's in my club here. And he wants to know if we are accepting interns. And I'm like, you know, I got to ask Moose about that because he takes care of that. And I said, we haven't had an intern in probably a year. And I think, well, we don't just accept them from the journalism school at the U of R, which I think has calved, right? They don't even have one anymore. But we've accepted them from Toronto and all those broadcast schools around there. Are we still accepting intern applications? And are we having interns?
Absolutely. We would definitely take the application. We actually, it's funny you brought that up. We were having this conversation not that long ago about it because we went through the year because of the U of R thing in this past semester, but our applications and stuff will be coming up here very shortly in the new year.
Okay. Good. The guy's name's Greg, and I'm not going to say what school. His kid goes to a sports management program in a Canadian university, and he's like, hey, my kid loves your show. And they're out in Eastern Canada. He'd like to intern for you if you're willing. I'm like, I don't even know the answer to that. So there's that. And then the other thing was, because I guess the kid watches every day, but Greg's down here in Florida and he's not on television and he's old, so he's not going to find it on YouTube. So he's like, what do you guys talk about on your show? And I said, we're the View for sports fans, just so you know. So here we are again, Darren, introducing ourselves to the millions of new viewers on Game Plus television, not to mention various podcast platforms. We are not Sports Center. And I know one of our viewers last hour got very upset and left because I would not engage in talking about baseball. So I'll remind you, it's the Rod Pedersen Show, not Sports Center. We kicked off the show with that. Results from last night, 10-0 Philly over the Diamondbacks. But I didn't watch it. I was watching the Lightning and the Sabres, and I was watching the Oilers and the Predators. We haven't even talked about the Oilers yet, for the love of God. So I'm not going to talk about baseball, but I'm going to do you the courtesy of mentioning it. And I'm going to also read this text. Kirk from Toronto. You know Kirk. He's the guy that wants to know if you're going to the playoff game on November 11th, but you can't because you are calling it the Hardy Cup University game.
That's right.
He says, hi, Rod. On this day, 150 years ago, October 18th, 1973, the first game was played between the Toronto Argonauts and Hamilton. 1873. The first game was played between the Toronto Argonauts and Hamilton Tiger Cats. How about that? Well, I knew that because Bob Bratina called it on the radio. And you wouldn't know what that means, Darren, and that's okay. But everybody in Hamilton's sitting there giggling right now, in Toronto as well. He was the longtime voice of both the Argonauts and the Tiger Cats, Bob Bratina. He was the mayor of Hamilton. And now I believe is still an MP for a Hamilton riding. Conservative government, of course. Conservative MP, member of parliament. So, yeah, Bob Bratina. That would be a joke in Saskatchewan. I would say John Lynch called it. And everybody would laugh there. So I'm just happy to have these experiences and know all these people. That's a 7-minute, pretty much, opening rant from me. So why don't you take over with something before I switch gears? What do you got? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are on hockey, actually. If we can switch to hockey for a second, the only thing I was thinking about this morning as I was watching Sports Center was, man, the Western Hockey League's good. The Western Hockey League dominated the NHL last night. Igor Zamula, Pat, got his first NHL goal. Caden Korczak, the Golden Knights' first NHL goal. Draisaitl doing his thing. Cousins scoring the winner. I thought the Western Hockey League really owned the NHL last night, and that was pretty cool to see.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And by the way, Chris Knuckles Nilan joins us next. I find that when I get up, I have a routine. I would like to think that you do, but maybe you don't. But I have a routine of websites I'd like to go through, and they give me everything that I need. And one of those is the NHL website, The Morning Skate. They talk about the highlights of what you need to know from last night, including McDavid's highlight goal in Nashville and the stats and everything. So Draisaitl is now the all-time leader in power play goals in Edmonton Oilers history. And if he scores, I'd have to go back and look at it. He's just setting records. Give me a second, I'll find it. He is setting records left and right, Leon Draisaitl up in Edmonton. All is right with the world. Serena got up this morning. We got up at the same time. This is how big of an Oilers fan she is. She looked at the score from Nashville last night and just said, "Oh, thank God." And she meant it. It was like 6-1.
Yeah.
Leon Draisaitl can join Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier as the third player in Oilers history with a goal streak of 4+ games from the start of the season when Edmonton visits Philadelphia on Thursday night. So that's the latest Draisaitl record that he could reach. So all of a sudden they've gone from what's wrong with us, we need new goalies, to, oh, Draisaitl's the greatest thing ever. And I guess it's a little ironic that an hour ago I said I am not here for the inevitable ups and downs of the emotional roller coaster of Winnipeg Jets fans, and then I go and light fire at all of them by saying they're going to lose their team. But interesting, on that point, John in Edmonton writes in, says it's looking closer that Montreal might get their Major League Baseball team back. What's your take on this, Rod and Moose? And also says, what do you think of Montreal as an NBA city? We talked about that a little bit last hour, but I want to say this again about Winnipeg. David Thompson, the owner of the Jets, somebody said one of the richest men in Canada, actually it was Will from Steinbach, Manitoba, wrote in and said, hopefully he's in it for the long haul. I don't know, man. I know a lot of rich guys that I know they don't like burning money. Everybody has a breaking point. Everybody. So how long do you think he stands by and writes checks to cover this team?
If you're asking me to put a number on it, I would say you've got 5 years. I would say 5 years. That's just in my gut. The number's not based on anything. But I would think, look, this is the big, what's going on here? You didn't sell at the home opener. 4,000 seats empty in your second game at home. I would think you'd get through this year. Around years 2 or 3, you'd start to get really concerned if this becomes more than just a little fad. It becomes a trend. And then 4 and 5, you start looking for places to go and putting this team on life support. So, yeah, I would say 5 years if this becomes a thing that continues and gets worse.
Hear that, everybody? Moose has given them 5 years. Because, hey, you can't get blood from a stone. Imagine if they were a crappy team. They got a great team. And people can't afford the tickets and aren't buying. Think about that for a second. This is a Canadian NHL team. I'd be far more worried about the future if it was a bad U.S. team. And maybe David Thompson is willing to cover the costs, but I just can't see it long term. I really cannot. What else did I have here? Well, the NHL games tonight, by the way, there are only 2. This is literally a slow down for a minute because we go so fast in hour 1. Tonight, Washington's at Ottawa, Battle of Nations Capitals, and Pittsburgh at Detroit. If I'm not mistaken, that's a rematch of the, it wouldn't be the 2007 Stanley Cup. Was it 08? Pittsburgh, Detroit?
I think so.
Here's one later on today. We'll spend the time here on this, and then if you want to come back later and finish up, because Knuckles is in next. but I'm watching the NHL on ESPN last night, and I'm watching everybody's take on Steven Stamkos and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that's why I'm going to tape the Cats and Bolts podcast later with Serena. Ed Jovanovski's going to join us live in studio. Here's a little tip, everybody. It's real easy to get great Panthers alumni here because nobody else wants to interview them. It's kind of hard in Calgary. Think about it. Why do you think they love our show down here? Nobody else is talking about the NHL in South Florida. Anyways, everybody is jumping on the Lightning, like on their back. Subban, to a certain degree, Mark Messier, even Bill Lindsay, who was on our Cats and Bolts podcast a couple weeks ago. It's all the players' perspective, and they're saying the Lightning aren't showing Stamkos enough respect. 1-2 Stanley Cups. He's your captain. What's he, year 12, 13 there or more maybe? But I'm like, that's all the players' perspective. We rarely get shown respect as the employees. I'd love to hear from a coach or a GM, probably a GM. I'd love to hear from a Doug McLean about what's management saying about this. Do you know what I mean? Are we not?
Yeah.
There's a scarcity of management types on NHL panels is what I'm trying to get at. Finally got it out of my mouth. What do you think?
There is. You know, you're right. Right now, it's all feels like it's all players, right? It's all players, maybe the odd coach. But you're right, not a lot of the manager types. And when Doug McLean was at his peak on Sportsnet, he would do the radio show in the afternoon. He'd do the TV shows at night. He brought that different perspective. He's done everything. He's coached. He's been a manager. So. And now he's done the media thing. So you're right. It brings a little bit more perspective. But hot thing of the day to have the former players on having fun, which I enjoy that too. But you're right. It'd be good to have a little balance.
Well, again, you make a good point. Maybe not everybody wants to see that. You like seeing Biznasty act like an idiot. Although, what I really love. And I've said this a million times. You said this to me on the phone yesterday. Rod, you're finally with your people. You're with the NHL people in South Florida. You look so happy. Those are the guys that I'm hanging around with. And a guy just said to me the other day, Gretzky lives here, by the way. They said, if you want to know why Biznasty's on NHL on TNT, that was a Gretzky deal. Gretzky says, if you want me, you got to bring him along. I don't know whether it's true or not, but it certainly looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty cool if it is. But I always think like Gretz and Biz, they kind of, balance each other out a little bit. And I always thought that was really what made Hockey Night in Canada great back, not that long ago. PJ Stock was on that panel, and some people said they didn't like he was too goofy. I'm like, I like that because the goofier he is, the better Kelly Rudy looks, or Elliot Friedman, or Kevin Weeks at the time. The more if you hate this guy on the panel, it means you're going to like that guy, the next guy, even more. And if I hate the guy you like, I'm going to like the other guy. So you got to have a little bit of flavor to satisfy everybody.
I didn't think PK was goofy. He was serious about his craft, and I appreciate that. But yeah. Hey, Canada's Game of the Week in the CFL. That's our poll question today for the Key Auto Group. I just want to throw that out there. There are only 3 games this week. Calgary at BC leading the poll with 59%. Toronto at Saskatchewan, 29%. Edmonton at Winnipeg, 12%. And again, it is brought to you by Key Auto Group. Big CFL fan joins us next. Chris Knuckles Nilan. Right, Knuckles? Thanks, Moose. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
We'll talk about these things when we return. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
View Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. We're cooking with gas. Well, we were. Thank you. We did a hot potato there. Nice work, Clark. As soon as we went to break, he's like, Darren, don't go anywhere. Knuckles Nilan has informed us that he is now unavailable. So Moose rejoins us. As you can see, I'm here in the South Florida studio. Moose is in Toronto, and thank you, Moose, for sticking with us.
I got you.
I'll tell you this, man. Okay, so now we're completely not scripted. So, believe it or not, we were before. So whatever anybody wants to talk about, you can write us 902-518-3033. If you want to talk about baseball, go ahead. I just haven't watched it. But if you want to talk about it, sure. Or in the YouTube chat, go ahead. I will say this, though, man. Podcasts are, in a way, where it's at. And the reason I say that, Chris Nilan informed producer Clark that he couldn't be on the show today because he was in the middle of taping one with Terry O'Reilly. Boston Bruins great Terry O'Reilly has obviously gone long. Didn't we just have that happen, Clark? Was it with Barney, Matthew Barnaby, a couple of weeks ago? Same thing? A podcast went long? Hello? Never mind, Clark. Don't worry. We'll continue to do our thing. So, I'm sure. So, when we do this show, Podcast Junkies Studios, where we do the Cats and Bolts podcast, Moose, and it's not live like this. So the guys come in and out whenever they want. And if a guy's late, we can just hit pause. Or if he's early, we can start early. The reason I bring this up is I'll never forget. Year one of our show, Jason Claremont. BC Lions, great. Saskatchewan Roughriders, great. Claremont was sitting in that chair right to my right. You might have been on the other side of him. And Claremont turns to me and goes, so this is a podcast? and your words echoed in my ears. I'm like, it's a show. You can call it whatever you want to call it, TV, radio, podcast, but there is a difference. We're live, believe it or not. That siren right now is real. It's live, not taped. So there is a difference. Are we a podcast? I don't even know what we are, other than we're episode number 1,102.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. Well, it's a show, but when it's a show, it's funny. Like, TV show versus radio show should be different. Podcasts should be different. But the way we do it, it's different than all of it. We're a show that's then distributed on your podcast platforms, radio, TV. So it is. It's just different. Some places it's live. Some places you're listening to it later. But you and I are always live. One take, no redos. Here we are.
Well, oh, yeah. But the other thing that I love is now that we're replayed at 5 p.m. Eastern on Game Plus, because we're live at noon Eastern, live right now. We're live, folks. Live. But at 5 p.m. Eastern, it replays, and that's before all the evening games. Before, we used to replay at night at 11 p.m. Pacific, 10 Pacific, 11 Mountain. The games were either on or over by then. Now we're like a double pregame show for that night's games, which, as I mentioned earlier, Washington's at Ottawa tonight in the National Hockey League, and Pittsburgh is at Detroit. And I flirted a little bit with Ottawa going in my top 5 teams in the NHL, which we did an hour ago. To recap, since Chris Nilan stiffed us, Knuckles, my top 5 teams in the NHL. Number 1, the Vegas Golden Knights. Number 2, the Colorado Avalanche. Number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 4, the Dallas Stars. And number 5, the Pittsburgh Penguins. I asked you to roughly come up with yours last hour. Did you? Did you?
Not exactly, because I like yours, but the only one I have that's really a big change is I still think Carolina is a better team than Colorado today, even though Colorado hasn't lost a game and Carolina has. I think early in the season, like you got Dallas up there, which I like. But this early in the season, you're not exactly looking at the records as much because, some teams are going to get out to a quick start and they're just not that good. Other teams are going to have tough starts that are really good. You got to use the eye test, and I think you've done a pretty good job of that.
That's what I'm doing. I didn't go specifically, and I'll get to your comments, by the way. Hey, they're awake in British Columbia today, which I knew that they were, but like, for instance, Dallas has only played 2 games, so they're like 18th in the standings or whatever overall, but they're still going to be one of the best teams. Pausing this, number 1 from Mahi in BC says, "Roar, Lions, roar." I was talking about Jason Claremont. And Phil Kershaw, checking in from Maple Ridge, BC, says Nathan Rourke has been signed to the Jacksonville 53-man roster and will be in uniform tomorrow night versus the Saints. How about that? That's the beautiful thing about daytime live sports talk. Good friends like Phil Kershaw, the former president of 2 CFL teams, Ottawa and Saskatchewan. There's your breaking news. Again, Nathan Rourke going to make his NFL debut. What's the deal there, by the way? Are you on top of this? I did have NFL notes written in my quick 6 that we didn't really get to. Is Trevor Lawrence injured is Beathard starting? Is that the story?
I don't think so.
Must be.
I think I thought that everything's all good there, but I see him getting signed. So something we're going to have to, look into a little bit more, a little closer, to find out if that's an issue with Beathard or if it's an issue with the big guy. But I don't think so. I mean, I think Jacksonville's in okay shape, but it's good to see Nathan Rourke get his opportunity and potentially with the skill set that he has will come in and potentially, be that short yardage system quarterback.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Let us know what dominoes have fallen to the degree that Nathan Rourke will make his NFL debut Thursday night, please, and thank you. I just went all squirrel for a moment, and for that I blame Chris Nilan. who stood us up today. You know, if we were in person, I wouldn't be spit-talking him like this. He'd knock me up.
I was going to say.
He watches us every day on Game Plus television in his living room. On, I believe, Videotron is his cable carrier there. His house backs onto the St. Lawrence River. What up?
Wow. Well, I got the latest. So the Jaguars, it is Trevor Lawrence. So coming out of that game with the Colts, I didn't realize he was dealing with this, but he's dealing with a bit of a knee injury. The reason that Beathard might get moved into play, I guess, is it's a short week because they play Thursday, right? So that's the biggest issue. So to find out if he's going to play on, it looks like Beathard's probably going to play if our boy Rourke was signed to the 53. So that really changes
Yeah,
things.
well, that's what I thought.
Somehow it's cold. Yeah, he might get a shot.
Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba says, Trevor Lawrence injured, game time decision. Thank you. That's what I thought. So if he can't go, Beathard will, and Nathan Rourke will back up. You got to do daytime live television, man. Can you imagine if we were one of those other pansy networks that are rolling the same highlight show over and over again until 1 o'clock? Oh, yeah, and here he is from Phil Kershaw. He says, this is insurance, so if Lawrence can't go. And Beathard would be the only quarterback available. Nathan gets moved to the active roster. Gotcha. I told you last hour, or was it earlier this hour? I had coffee with my friend Greg this morning, and I got to be careful. I don't want to name too many names. But he had said, I see Goodell's got a 3-year extension. I'm like, how do you know this? That came out this morning. NFL owners and Commissioner Roger Goodell agreed to a new 3-year contract extension through March 2027, the league announced Wednesday, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. Goodell said, quote, of his new deal, I'm honored to do this job, and it's not going to change how I do my day-to-day job. That's the quote. Goodell declined to speculate on whether this will be his final term as NFL commissioner. So my friend, let's not name him anymore. He leaned across in the coffee shop just this morning and said, so you were in the CFL for a long time? I'm like, yeah, a generation. He goes, do you know that Jeffrey Orridge? I'm like,
oh boy.
Why? He goes, well, he's a good friend of mine. And we used to coach basketball together. I said, well, I'll tell you what. Bring my name up to him, but don't judge me by what he says. Okay. He knew nothing. This is the former commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Jeffrey P. Like, you want to talk about a small world. And I think by the end of Orridge's tenure, I think we made up. You were around then. I think we're on good terms. What do you think?
Well, I mean, there's no reason to be on bad terms, even if you're critical of the job that somebody's doing from the media. You have to be able to separate it. But hey, you give me that look, and it's like, yeah, but can people separate it? I have yet to see evidence where people can separate it, like we can talk about. But the first tell, just kind of funny. Like, I have no dealings, so I don't have an opinion here. But the first tell is he was a basketball coach. Like, if you were coaching football together, that would make a little more sense. But maybe a basketball guy.
Oh, I never even thought about that. I never even thought about that at all. I mean, Gary Bettman came from the NBA. And I'm a huge Gary Bettman fan. I'm not concerned about that at all. How do you think CEOs go from soft drink companies to TV stations to dog food? It doesn't necessarily mean about the problem. And I want to stop for a second because I don't want to get into this again with Orridge. But my only problem with the guy, he's a nice enough guy. He knew nothing about the Canadian Football League. And have we not worked for somebody that doesn't know anything about the product? It's very frustrating. That's all. That was the one problem that I had. And then the other problem that I had was that he was fining our team up the wazoo. Like $70,000 to $75,000. Chris Jones was our coach and GM at the time. And if you recall, like the Saskatchewan Roughriders' job, and listen, I'm the problem, not them. It's me. But it finished me for wanting to be the voice of a team anymore because Jones is getting fined for the practice roster squad that had 30 players on it, you're only allowed 5, or playing 12 Americans for half the game. His plan was to run up the score so much that by halftime, playing 12 Americans, we'll play all Canadians in the second half because we were ahead too much. That was a fine. So I'm taking Jones's side because I'm a Jones guy. Then I'm getting called into the office by the team president going, no, you have to be on the league side. And I'm like, but Jones is the one that I'm with every day. I don't ever talk to Orridge. It's an unwinnable situation. It was an unwinnable situation. Yeah. Jay Miller writing in from Winnipeg says, no Velarde at Jets practice. Hope it's not too serious. Yeah. I hope so, too.
That was tough.
Hope they put a Band-Aid on it. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, if the Riders don't want to be fined, don't cheat. Well, of course, now looking back on it, of course, but I'm trying to support the team. I didn't know what they wanted. Remember, the commissioner always came in for our Hall of Fame banquet and induction. Always the commissioner spoke. And that year, Orridge was told, stay in Toronto, you're not welcome. By the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And yet I'm told to get along with him. Again, it's the same regime that's running the team now, and you wonder why they can't find their ass with both hands. Brian in Hudson Bay writes in and says, hey, Rod, great show. Don't mind your top 5. I'm just surprised Pittsburgh's in the top 5. Gary in Winnipeg writes in and says, what happened to the Toronto Blue Jays this year? I don't know, Gary. If you find out, let us know.
Bingo!
From Bill, he's in Regina. He says, sorry, I can't watch any more of today's show, but I wanted to leave you with Go Argos. Have a good day. Or is it the Chad Kelly? Go Argos. What I do know is we are going to take a timeout and be right back. We got a sports update coming up. Load them up, whatever you want. 902-518-3033. We'll spend a minute on what happened to the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll Google it. And we'll look at tonight's sports action as well. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
My name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome back. Guys, Manscaped has done it again. I'm talking about the new Handyman facial razor. That's right, it's for up top, not for your junk. Available this fall, and they've really put a lot of thought into this, like all Manscaped products. Sleek, compact, it's about the size of your iPhone. And it charges by USB. So, yeah, it handles all those problems. Like not fitting into your shaving kit for roadies. Just do me a favor and use the promo code TheRPShow at manscaped.com. If you do, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. That's manscaped.com on all other products, but specifically the Handyman. Let's bring the Moose in right here. And I'll tell you, man, this is why this show is the view for sports fans. It ain't, pardon the interruption. You know, I said recently, is that literally only a half an hour? And what airs on the main ESPN network is only 30 minutes long. How could you get into all those topics and then just bang, 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 bang? Whereas some of these other shows, Darren, we could sit for 2 hours and talk about the future of the Winnipeg Jets. And I'm sure they're in Winnipeg. And I'm sure there are a lot of shows that are doing that in Winnipeg today. People are saying, Rod's, again, the hot take of the day today. I said, get ready, Winnipeg. It's only a matter of time before you lose the Jets again. And because you know this, I don't care what people think anymore. Used to think I actually didn't care, but I did. Now I really don't. So I'm going to say even more of what I think. It's not because I'm from Saskatchewan. I love Winnipeg. I do. And I don't want to piss anybody off in Winnipeg. And if I do, I don't care because, Darren, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet.
True.
You're saying 5 years. Like, that was what Darren said. If you don't like me, take it out on him. Yeah, I don't think it'll be any less than 5 years. But they're not going to be staying there in 10.
Well, not if this continues, right? I mean, the one thing I will say about it is you look at what they went through, you know, and they got rid of some people from that exit in the playoffs and then blaming the coach and the bad culture in the locker room, Pomo leaving. They've gone through a little bit of this. And while they may have cleaned it up in the offseason and they got Hellebuck and Scheifele re-signed, there's a little aftershock of that bad culture and a little aftershock of that negativity that maybe people haven't caught on yet. But they got excited about Scheifele and Hellebuck, and you hope that this turns into an increase in ticket sales and that they say, wait a second, the building's empty. I can actually get in there. There's open seats. You better hope this turns around really quickly. But if it gets worse before it gets better, we're going to see it's going to be a conversation for sure.
Yeah, it kind of already is. It's become that because of Winnipeggers. And I see this with Rider fans. I think that's why this show's been so popular in Manitoba, because people from Saskatchewan and Manitoba are very similar. Whether they want to admit it or not, they are. Ag's the number one industry. They're blue collar. They're honest. To be honest, that's the one thing that I really miss about home, the Canadian prairies, is when somebody tells you they're going to do something or be somewhere, they're going to be there. And they're going to do it. You know, here, yeah, somebody tells me they're going to do something, I just put it out of my head. You're not going to do it. So that's the one thing that I really do miss. Gosh, thank you, everybody, for coming to the rescue with your various comments. A lot of these we answer every day, but I'll allow it. Northside YEG writes in and says, who's going to make the playoffs, Stamps or Riders? Well, sir, if you went to Vegas or you asked the Bet Regal bet odds makers, they would say, judging by trends, I think the odds makers would say Calgary. As a matter of fact, CFL.ca with their simulator just did a thing. Going into last weekend's games, I think the Stamps had 51.5% and Riders 48.5% to make the playoffs. Given last weekend's result with Calgary winning, I bet you it's like 70-30 Calgary. I don't know. Have they done the simulator yet? Can you do it, CFL? Hello? What do you think it would be?
Yeah, it would be great if they could. I think you look at what's left, and isn't it Winnipeg and Toronto for Calgary, or sorry, BC, and then on the other side, the Riders got to play the Argonaut. I think the simulator, if all things are equal, says neither the Stamps or the Riders are going to win any of their games down the stretch, right? I think that's what the simulator says. That nobody, then the chips will fall.
If that's the case, then the Riders. If that's the case, then the Riders will get it.
Yeah, Calgary's got to win one. I think that's why they have the increased opportunity, just because they have one extra chance to do it. But I don't think they're giving those two teams a lot of credit right now.
I will say this, the Rider fans are always and that's the other thing, Rider fans, Blue Bomber fans, and to be honest, Argo fans are sneakily good because they don't get any coverage anywhere. But I'll say this to Jeff, the Stamps fan, who's here every day. He's part of the Rod Squad. He's got a lot to say. But he says the Stamps will make it. And his comments covered. I can't see all of it. But listen, I give Calgary Stampeder commentary on this show. We post the clips, and they get reaction. So don't blame me. I remember having this chat with Gary Lawless back in the day. He's like, I would love to give more CFL coverage. This is when he was still in Winnipeg. But he's like, my tweets don't get any engagement. My social media posts get no engagement from CFL fans, whereas you tweet one thing about the Jets and there's 1,000 comments. It's numbers, brah. Robert Campbell writes in and says, the Blue Bombers are the hot sports ticket in Winnipeg at the moment, not the Jets. Potential fourth straight sellout at IG Field on Saturday. I kind of like that upswing and attitude. That turning the frown upside down. And let's not forget the tickets are a fraction of the price. We've been saying this forever. If you don't like the cost of tickets or hot dogs or beer, don't go. And let's not forget, you and I were there in Winnipeg at the game. Thank you to the Canadian Lacrosse Association that brought us out there. We went to IG Field. And what was the buzz in the city? You got to be there an hour before the game because beer, hot dogs, and hamburgers are $5. The place was jammed an hour before the game. You're not going to see that from the Jets. And listen, I came home. I don't mind saying it now. Jim Hobson, the former Rider president, the Hall of Fame Rider president, and called me and goes, what are they doing in Winnipeg? I'm like, Jim, it's unbelievable. This is the thing. The buzz in downtown Winnipeg is you had to be there an hour before kickoff because of this. He's like, that's friggin' genius. Is that Wade? I don't know if it was the president, Wade Miller, or not, but it was somebody. And it's working. He's like, oh, man, that's genius. So, yes, Winnipeg Blue Bombers do deserve their kudos. But they're 12-point favorites Saturday, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, when they host the Edmonton Elks. And that's another reason that I think the odds makers probably hate this time of year, too. Because that's a game that doesn't mean anything. You don't know who's going to play. We're very hard to set a line for these games in the CFL right now. Oh, and one last more. Jen. Yeah, it's impossible. Jen from the Four Seasons writes in. She says, the Oilers are going to go with a goalie tandem thing rather than the hot goalie now. I appreciate her writing that in because I don't have time to read every comment from every coach after every game. So I appreciate, Jen, that you said that. And that's what I would do. If you had two goalies that were even, I mean, here in Florida, Sergei Bobrovsky's played every minute. I would play him every minute, too. But if you've got two, like in Boston or various NHL markets, I'd play them both and go with... I'd go with them both if there's not one clear number one. And in Edmonton, I don't think they have a clear number one, is what I'm trying to say. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, you would say Campbell played really well, deserves another start, and should get, to run with it for a bit. But you got two guys. I think you kind of split it until you establish that you've got a clear number one, and they don't have a clear number one.
Okay, Jen says, no, they're going with the hot goalie, not the tandem. I'm sorry, there's a heart that covers my comments on the YouTube feed, and I don't know how to get it off. So I'm only seeing half the comment. Again, a me problem, not blaming anybody, but I'm not getting the meanings of everybody. So they're going to go with the hot goalie. Well, yeah, obviously that makes sense. Let's see how that works. Because I do think we think Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner are pretty even, do we not? There's not a clear-cut number one. There isn't in Edmonton, so clearly they're even. Okay?
That's right.
We'll be back with Overtime right after this. One final segment. Get your comments and questions in now. We are live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Overtime is at hand, and it is brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide, 28th Street Northeast. Check them out. It is amusement park for hockey players. I know they watch every day down there. Hey, Randy and Michelle, hope you guys are having fun. I'm going to say it every day until their, guest book is filled up, their calendar. Get your Christmas parties down there. Get your family Christmas parties down there. They are fully licensed and just big fun for everybody. I love it. Can't wait till the next time we visit Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Let's bring Moose in. Ryan O'Radio checks in from Atlanta. WQEE Radio says, the RP show did it again. Great show. Great hump day show, he says. Regarding that heart on the YouTube chat feed where it's blocking half my comments, Ken is watching in Pennsylvania. He says, I'm watching on a PC and have that same heart that cuts off comments. It's annoying. Brian in Manitoba says, we all love the RP show, hence that heart emoji. Great show as always. Jennifer says, it's uber annoying. So we all have it, I guess. We all have it. Colin in Ottawa saving us from all this nonsensical chatter and saying the Senators are going for a third win in a row tonight versus the Capitals. Second line center Josh Norris is back, and hopefully he gets a point after a long absence. Well, we are officially into week 2 of the NHL regular season because it was a week ago last night that it started with the triple header on ESPN. So what do they say? It was Peter Labardius who said U.S. Thanksgiving is that cutoff line where you know what you have. It certainly isn't the first week. It ain't the first week. Yeah. So if you're in Ottawa, you're pretty chipper. If you're on Long Island, you're really chipper. The Islanders haven't lost yet. If you're in Seattle, are you worried? They lost again to Colorado last night. I think Seattle has reason to be worried at 0-3-1. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. That would be a tough start for a team that's trying to get back to where they were. They're still a team trying to consistently get to the playoffs. So, I'd be concerned if I was in Seattle a little bit, but it's nothing that can't be overcome. I mean, there's no need to overreact. That's for sure.
Ron in Calgary writes in and he says, the Stampeders make the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. Riders or Stamps are just practice teams for BC and Winnipeg. Yeah, I hear that a lot, and I see what you're saying, but I don't look at it from a fan's perspective. I look at it from the team, player, coaches, and staff perspective, and that saves jobs. When you're in there pleading your case the week after the season, well, we made the playoffs, can't fire me, save some guys' jobs. You know, it was only for a week. You didn't score a point in the semifinal. Doesn't matter, we made it. History shows we made it. And that's true. Craig Campbell writes in and says, late in the show, hello from the Hockey Hall of Fame archives. Thank you. Sorry, Darren, bear with me. From Mahi in Vancouver. Mahi says, big respect to RP to have the only forum for us CFL fans. If you noticed, I don't know what that says or means that we're the only forum for the CFL, but it is what it is. And Craig, you might be interested to know, Craig Campbell, I'm going from here to go tape our Cats and Bolts podcast where we talk only Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning with Serena, my co-host, and Ed Jovanovski joining us in the studio. I finally found it. I'm a late study, Darren. It's only taken me 2+ years. But we keep the Florida NHL talk there, and we do talk CFL and Canadian NHL talk here, and everybody's happy. Sports update, the Texas Rangers hold a 2-0 lead over the Houston Astros heading into Game 3 of the ALCS tonight. 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer will start tonight for the host Rangers against Houston's Christian Javier. The Philadelphia Phillies are up 2 games to none on the Arizona Diamondbacks, which with the series switching to Phoenix for Game 3 tomorrow, the Phils pounded the D-backs 10-0 last night. News from the NFL. Indianapolis Colts rookie running back Anthony Richardson has taken the final snap of his rookie season, opting to have season-ending surgery on his injured throwing shoulder. That was quick. Sports updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing, a commitment to connection and celebration of uniqueness. Visit commoncrown.ca, wonderful craft brewery out of Calgary. Another NFL news item today, Roger Goodell has agreed to a 3-year contract extension. I've heard... Last I heard, he makes $36 million a year. It's probably a raise on that. And you know what, Darren? I don't begrudge him a nickel. And I don't even think I'd want that job. I can't even imagine the headaches that guy must put up with.
Yeah, I know. Too much, but he's earned it, and he gets the extension.
Yeah, you're getting that echo? Is somebody holding down the talkback switch? Hello? Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, we could hear ourselves through that. Thank you, guys. Yeah. I mean, listen. These guys that run NFL teams and pro sports teams are narcissists. They are. Can you imagine having Daniel Snyder come at you? Can you imagine having John Gruden come at you? You're guaranteed they are. Like, I'm sure John Gruden has a 24... Well, he has to have a... Or not John Gruden. Goodell has to have a 24-hour security team, I would think. Has to. And that's just from the guys he knows, let alone the kooks that he doesn't. I'm serious. Like Dan Snyder, they're like, $6 billion, just go away. No, I don't want it. I want to ruin you. That's how it works, you know.
I know.
No, homie, don't play that game. So, yeah, hats off to Roger Goodell because, quite frankly, I think he's done a wonderful job. Quickly, who's the best commissioner? Adam Silver, Roger Goodell, Gary Bettman. Who am I forgetting?
Goodell.
Don't matter. Who's the best
Goodell.
one? Get it? Yeah?
Roger Goodell.
That was quick.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow, everybody. Noon Eastern here on Game Plus and a Key.
Who has more fun than us?